There are two rites of passage that change a woman's life completely. Two passages that reorganize everything: your body, your identity, your relationships, your sense of who you are. One is becoming a mother, the other is perimenopause. And we are the first generation of women to be navigating both of them at the same time, with both the science and the ancient wisdom now available to us. Nobody gave us a map. We are making one. And that's what this video is all about. There is a word for what happens to a woman when she becomes a mother. It's called matrescence. A medical anthropologist named Dana Raphael coined this term in the 1970s. And yet, most of us moms have never heard of it. This gap is not an accident. Matrescence is to motherhood what adolescence is to puberty. It is a complete developmental passage through your body, your identity, your relationships, your sense of meaning and purpose. It is not just a minor adjustment, it's a total reorganization of who you are. Dana Raphael noticed something important about language. When a baby is born in the US, we say a child is born. Among other cultures, the same event is described completely differently. A woman has given birth. One culture centers the baby, the other centers the woman's transformation. We have systematically refused to acknowledge that the mother is going through something real and significant. The researcher Orly Athen puts it plainly: words create worlds. When we don't have language for an experience, we can't make sense of it. We conclude instead that something must be wrong with us, that we are not cut out for this, that everyone else is handling it better. None of that is true. A major Columbia University study tracking mothers from 2016 to 2023 found that the percentage of mothers reporting good mental health dropped from 38% to 26% in just 8 years. The percentage reporting poor mental health rose by 63%. And those declines started before COVID. Mothers of teenagers report anxiety and depression at nearly the same rates as their teenagers. This is not a postpartum issue. This is a structural one. Matrescence operates on every level simultaneously. Physiologically, the body changes permanently. Psychologically, who am I now that so much has changed? Relationally, because every relationship shifts. Economically, you hit what researchers call the maternal wall. Spiritually, what is the meaning and purpose of my life now? And it does not happen just once. It shifts again with every child, with every developmental stage of those children. We keep waiting to be ourselves again, but that self we are waiting for has already changed. This is not a failure. This is an important passage. There is a question that sits at the heart of mothering that almost no one asks out loud. Who are you beyond mom? A mother who is still asking, who am I, is suspicious of not fully committing to the role. But Dr. Orly Athen is clear. Becoming a mother is not an addition, it is a reorganization. You don't simply add mom to your existing identity. Your entire selfhood shifts. And the work of matrescence is to move through that shift consciously. It's so normal to ask, who am I, all along the way. Now, perimenopause, the second passage. And I want to frame it the same way I just framed matrescence, as a developmental passage, not a medical problem to be managed. The research on perimenopause is still being written. For decades, women's experience of this transition was dismissed, undertreated, and in many cases, completely ignored. You came in with real symptoms and were told your labs were normal. That is its own kind of problem. Perimenopause is primarily a brain event. Estrogen receptors are everywhere in your brain, your gut, your heart, your skin, your joints. When estrogen begins to fluctuate, the effect shows up in your nervous system first: the mood swings, the anxiety, the brain fog, the 2 a.m. wake up. These are not character flaws. They are the physiological reality of a transition that has been undertreated for generations. The HPO axis, the hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis, is recalibrating. Your thermostat is glitching. Your master clock is disrupted. And you're trying to run a household, show up for your kids, and do your job on top of all of it. Orally Ethan draws a parallel between the two passages that I find remarkable. She says pregnancy prepares us to surrender to the baby. Perimenopause prepares us to know our inner selves, to make the internal match the external, to go deep into the shadows so we can ascend and transform, and to release what no longer serves us. Grieve who you used to be. Go through the dark. Rebirth. How we do one birth is how we do them all. That is not woo. That is a clinician and a researcher describing the full arc of what this passage is for. Here's what no one is saying clearly enough. We are the first generation of women to navigate these two passages at the same time, at scale. Our mothers had their kids in their 20s, for the most part. By the time perimenopause arrived, the kids were out of the house. The passages were sequential. Ours are simultaneous. We delayed motherhood for education, for career, for the right time, all the things that make us incredible. And we arrived at perimenopause still deep in the active years of raising kids. The nuclear family has dispersed. Extended family support structures have fragmented, and we are doing this largely alone, being told to be grateful. Erica and I have spent 3 years in this convergence without language for it, both of us, treating patients going through the same thing. 3 years before we had the words. That gap between what women are living and what medicine names and treats is exactly why we built Women's Well. If what I'm describing sounds familiar, or if you're in the convergence right now, I would like to invite you to our free masterclass. It walks through exactly this, the science, the identity work, and what becomes available when you stop navigating this alone. You can go to registration at womenswell.co/masterclass. A teacher, Angeles Arian, a cultural anthropologist whose work forms part of the framework at Women's Well, teaches what she calls the visionary way. The core of it is this: see clearly. Do not distort reality with self-denial, with performing an acceptable version of yourself, with caring more than is yours to carry. In the context of motherhood and of perimenopause, seeing clearly means this: you do not have to become invisible to be there for your children. That sentence sounds simple. Living it in a culture organized around maternal self-erasure is one of the bravest things a woman can do. Orally Ethan also describes something called the mother backpack theory. Every mother is carrying a backpack. Most of us are also carrying our children's backpack and our partner's backpack without ever consciously agreeing to that arrangement, and often without noticing how heavy the load has become. The first step is just awareness. How heavy is this actually? What is generally mine to carry? Sometimes reclaiming yourself means putting someone else's bag down. Arian uses an image she calls the sacred hoop, the circle that holds all of who you truly are: body, voice, desire, vision, truth. The sacred hoop is broken when any person steps out of their truth. The invitation of both of these passages, as hard as they are, is return to your sacred hoop, to grieve what has ended, to name what is difficult, to stop performing, and to insist on your own wholeness, not instead of your children, but alongside them. A mother who models selfhood teaches her children that women are full human beings. The sacred hoop is large enough for all of you. You are not the first woman to navigate these passages, but you may be the first generation to do it with the language, the science, and the community, and to do it consciously. Matrescence is real. Perimenopause is real. The convergence of the two in your body, in your life, with small children still needing you, and a nervous system that is genuinely changing. This is all real. And you deserve support that treats all of it. That is what we built. That is what Women's Well is. Our free masterclass will be done weekly in the next month. You can find it at womenswell.co/masterclass. It is live, it is free, and it goes deeply into exactly this: the science of what is happening in our body, the identity work of these two passages, and what is possible when you stop navigating without a map and you write the map together. So come along, bring a friend who needs this. Please subscribe to our channel if you want more of this, and leave me a comment. Tell me which passage you're in right now. I would love to hear.